Trade Association podcast, Esports Connected. Today, let's do a big welcome for Trevor Johnson. Trevor's a double junior major in sports management and digital media at Manchester University. He's been a member of the Esports Trade Association for a few years. He serves in the marketing committee. He's had multiple internships through his tenure, and he's working on content and esports management. He's here to share his journey, and a big welcome to you. Hi, Trevor.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. It's going great. Whoa, what an introduction. You've been really up to a lot these past few years.
It's been busy, but it's been great. I've been able to have a lot of experiences, and it's been awesome.
Okay, right on. So where do we start? Do you want to start with why you joined? Because you were definitely one of our early students that joined as a professional member.
Yeah, I get, yeah, so esports just happened for me. It was an explosion. I had no idea that I was even interested in it as potential career or anything, and it all just kind of happened. So after I got into esports, I was like, how do I make connections? How do I get to know the right people so that I could kind of have a leg up in this space? So I think I was scrolling through social media. I can't remember exactly which platform. I'm constantly on a rotation. I'm young. I have a phone. Social media is just what happens. So I happened to come across the Esports Trade Association, and that they were looking for members. And I was like, oh, this is actually really cool, and I really want to do this. There's this really big conference coming up, and that sounds like the perfect way to meet people with similar interests, and then professionals in the space that like have the experience. So I I looked at it and I was like, wow, I'm a broke college kid. I don't have the money to do this. So then I went to a mentor at my university and said, hey, this is really what I want to do. It's what I want to do with my life after college, even though I just found this out like the week before. But I was so passionate about it, and I think she could hear the passion in my voice, and completely paid for everything. I got my membership in ESTA and just started running with it. Like, went to as many of the meetups and anything that I could, and have managed to make so many connections.
So tell me a little bit about the connections you've made and what you've done.
Yeah, so I know, a shout out to Donna Walters. She's one of those connections that I've made. Her and I have done a lot of things together. I'm actually on the marketing committee with me, as you mentioned before. But I know I've been able to be a part of some great companies and get a lot of really good experiences through it. And just all of the I know that if there's I'm the esports guy at my school. So we just started an esports program, and the director's like, hey, what do you think about this? I'm like, oh, I have a guy. I know somebody. Like, that's my person. And I've just managed. I couldn't list all the people that I've met, just because there's so many that I know I can reach out to for really any issue that comes up.
So tell me what you've learned, in the consulting that you've done. Can you share some of your journey about that?
Yeah, and that's pretty crazy, because it's actually I've done a lot of learning actually pretty recently when it comes to consulting. I've I think one of the biggest lessons that I would tell anybody if they're to ever ask me for any advice is to do the things that you know that you're passionate about. So I've had the experience to, like, here's like a paid job that sounds like it'd be okay and would look pretty good on a portfolio or on a resume. And then I have this passion project that I know is going to be awesome. I get to kind of craft and mold it and do exactly what I wanted to with it. It's going to look great. Take the passion, just do it. It's gonna be so much better for you as a person, as yourself. You're gonna feel better about what you're doing. You're gonna put your all into it, because it's what you're passionate about. That's what passion is. So I've learned recently that, yeah, just because it might be paid or is with an established company, yeah, sure, it might be good for you, and then that could be your route. But if you have the option to kind of to switch lanes and do this thing that's like you're full of passion about, you get to create your own series. Go for it. Just jump. To take the leap.
So tell me about the culture of the opportunities you have. I mean, I think it's an amazing share that you say take your passion projects over paid projects. Are projects coming at you, and how are you finding them? Because I guess what I would like to understand is it passion or paid, or can it be both?
Yeah, so I don't the projects are coming to me, but I think it's partly because I'm always shouting, always letting people know that I'm here. I want to do things. I want to grow in the space. So just a little tangent before I get to like the paid passion
Please.
project was I had a professor. So esports is a really new concept at my college, and like I said, I'm the go-to esports guy. So I had a professor come up to me. He said, "Hey, Trevor, I'm looking for someone who could talk about breaking out in the esports industry. Do you know anybody?" And I said, I think I know a few, but let's just throw a Hail Mary pass. Let's see what happens. So I actually tweeted at a professional esports organization, Energy Esports. I said, "Hey, I added their Twitter, I added their CEO's Twitter. I said, is there anyone within your company that would want to talk to a college class about how they kind of broke out?" And they answered. I said, "Hey, DM me." So I got to talk to people from this organization that I look up to. I watch them compete every weekend. I got to talk to someone that works there, and like it was a real life person. And they came and talked to the class. But to kind of relate that to the original question was that the projects are coming, but it's because I'm not afraid to shout, to send that DM. So an organization or someone post, "Hey, looking for this, and this." Um, I'll send the DM, like, "Hey, what exactly are you looking for?" They'll give me their list, and then now I've learned to okay, this sounds like it could be beneficial too as both. Like I can get you your thing. I'm gonna grow and have the experiences from it. So that's really cool to do, and a great way for anyone to really find those experiences. I've been very lucky. At my school, I have an esports director who trusts me with it. He's like, "Hey, you." I work as his assistant, so it's a paid gig. But he's like, "Hey, what can we do to elevate our brand, whether it be for recruiting or just brand establishment and identity?" I'm like, "Okay, we're gonna do this really big project that you're not gonna see until the end of the month because of how big it is." And we started, so that's my passion project, that's the one I'm working on. And he trusts me with it, and so I get to have that paid gig mixed with my passion. It's a completely like it's mine. I came up with it, the title, all of the videos, everything for it, and I kind of have that trust, which I think is really cool.
Wow. I mean, that is just great to hear. I don't want to let anything out of the bag, but it sounds like what you might be doing is promoting your university as an esports mecca for education.
Um, Maybe not quite. A lot of it right
Okay.
now is through the experience. So we have the opportunities for students to come work for our team, for our director. I know I can't reveal too much because a lot of it's back end and things like that, but we're looking to expand and to do more things. And I'm so glad that I get to play a part in that and to kind of like lay the path for those that come after me. So like I'm not going to see a lot of the big growth because I'm a junior in college. I graduate next year. But the fact that I'll be able to look back and be like, I helped start that is one of the
Okay.
coolest things for me. So I'm trying to lay that groundwork so that those, whether it be players or even like the next assistant comes in to work for the program, like they'll have this kind of good, this solid foundation to work from.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. Tell me a little bit about Manchester University.
Yeah, small private college of about 1,200 students. In northeastern Indiana, there's nothing around us. I think the closest city is Fort Wayne, and that has to be a weekend trip because it's not super close. But the coolest thing for me is the opportunity. So I don't think had I've gone to any of my other choices through the college search that I end up where I am today. And that's just from the various faculty and staff members who just keep pushing me to do what they know I want to do. So whether it be the staff member paying for me to join ESTA because they recognize how good of an opportunity it's going to be for me, or another professor asking me to talk to his class of my peers and actually some who are it's a senior level class. Hey, will you come talk to them about your experience in esports so they can kind of understand what it is? So they're always just pushing me that like you're doing the right thing. And I think the best thing about Manchester is the people and just all the opportunities that they have for everybody.
Wow, that's great. I remember when we posted your member feature and the university shared the post on their social medias. And I thought that was really cool. I mean, what a great university.
Yeah, and they shared it on their social media, but then they also put it in their newsletter. So I I forgot to tell my dad that the university posted it on their social media, and then he gets the newsletter because he signed up for the email. It's like, hey, you know that you're in this, right? Yeah. He's like, why didn't you tell me? Like, this is awesome. So it was a really cool thing to get that recognition. That I was like, oh, I was like offhanded, mentioned it to a faculty member, like, oh, I joined this trade association and I'm getting to meet some really cool people. And he just pushed it along to marketing and the president even sat me down for lunch one day, like, what? So tell me about esports. Like, what is it? So it's been so cool that they just kind of push me in to have those conversations.
What do you think is next for you? You have what, 1 year left of school, and you're assisting in the esports department. Can you talk a little bit about what's happening next? And I'd also like to hear about when you visited the Pacer Center.
Yeah, so we'll start with Pacers, because
Okay,
that's what's led the explosion that I mentioned earlier. That's
true.
what started it.
Yes.
So it was my first year, brand new baby face first year in college. I was in my sport management class. The professor said, "Hey, we're gonna take a trip to a conference down at Bankers Life. Get to see a bunch of the Pacers facilities and meet a lot of people that work there." So that was a really cool place. I'm all about networking. I might be old fashioned for this, but I like to hand people a business card. But then I'll go and like send them a tweet right after that. So I'm not sure where I fall when it comes to stuff like that. But I got to go. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a great in-person opportunity
Yeah.
to go meet these people face to face. And I had no idea this was a part of it, but we got to tour Pacers Gaming, their esports arena. So I got to meet the director of esports, their director of content, and that's really when it clicked. That like, oh wow, this is an actual job. I can
Yes.
go. I'd been watching esports for years. I got into it playing with some of my friends in high school. I was like, oh, this is cool. And then we started watching the competitions on the weekends, and I was like, oh, that's a really cool thing. I'd always watch them. Got there, like, oh wow, this is real. Like I could be one of those people that work in it, and that's when it all exploded. Came back to the university and was like, hey, esports, and like, oh yeah, we're actually starting a program. Like there's no way that timing worked out. Like I can't like explain like what stars had to align for them to be starting an esports program at my school right after I learned that I could have a job in it. So then I was the annoying kid who kept emailing the directors like, hey, what's happening? Where's the process? I'm gonna. It could be annoying, but I'm gonna use persistence. That's the word that I'm
Okay,
gonna go with.
great.
So I was persistent about it. I think I sent him an email once every week, like, hey, what's the process? Do we think we're gonna have the team? And then when we finally got the team, like, Trevor, we'd love to have you in this assistant. Could you come work for us? We think you have some great ideas. That was the greatest news to get when I came onto campus as a sophomore, that I was able to do that. So since then, we're in our third semester of esports. I've been working since the very beginning to kind of help build the brand and stuff. So in terms of the future, I think this next year, I'm gonna enjoy senior year. I'm gonna
Okay.
keep working
Okay.
with the esports team. Um, try to do as much for them as I can. I talked about laying that groundwork. So I want there to be that solid foundation for any assistant that comes after me. This is what we've done. This is exactly what we do. This is how we do it. I want to have that to just make the transition easier for anyone that's coming in. And then I want to do some more of those passion projects. So I'm working on it. It's actually a docu-series. It comes out this Friday at the time that I'm saying this, that I'm recording it. It should release the very first episode. So that's so cool to me. I've grown up watching them, and to be able to be someone that's actually making that is the coolest thing ever. And I can't thank my director enough for giving me the opportunity and trusting me to do it. But after I graduate, I'm actually talking with a grad school right now about a potential graduate assistantship for esports. So it's looking like I'm going to be going to grad school to get a master's in esports management and potentially even working for an esports team on the graduate assistant level.
Well, that's outstanding news. Congratulations. What would you tell somebody watching you that is a freshman or a sophomore?
Just go for it. You know, send the email, send the DM, send the tweet. It's not going to hurt anything. The worst that's going to happen is they're going to say no or they're going to ignore it. The couple successes that I've had in reaching out to people or getting their reply back, there's also a million times more failures where nothing came of it. So don't be scared of failure. Send the tweet, take the leap, go for it, because you just never know what opportunities are going to come out of it.
Mhm. Indiana, they sure do have their college options down. So whenever I talk to a Hoosier, it's always interesting for me to hear which college they chose, because I mean they really are an amazing state for colleges. That there's just no question. I'm sure it was a tough decision to choose Manchester, but it looks like it was a divine decision.
Yeah, it was Manchester was my last second school, actually. Very last one that I applied to. Was basically set to go somewhere else. And then yeah, so like the odds of it. So I get there. My dad's like, hey, let's try this school. I came in as a student athlete to play golf. And my dad's like, hey, I think your scores fit a little bit better at this school. Why don't we check them out? And this is already so much like I'd already applied and been accepted to a couple other schools. So I'm like, oh, I guess I'll send the application. It's not going to take very long. Coach started talking to me. Dad's like, okay, let's go take a visit. So we drive the almost 4 hours to visit the school. And I'm like, we're walking back to the car. My dad looks at me and he goes, you're going here, aren't you? Yeah. Like he could just see it on my face that this is where I needed to be. And I really felt that once I got here.
Well, you really have always inspired me from the first time we've met. And it's just really great to have you on the show and for you to share a little bit about your experience here at the Esports Trade Association and your service. Would you like to talk a little bit about, what you've done, consulting, some of your paid projects, some of your passion projects outside of the university, and how that experience has helped you working in the world of business and esports?
Yeah. So I've learned some hard lessons. So I took what I thought was going to be one of those passion projects, that maybe you don't get paid for. I hadn't really taken any of the opportunities yet to actually work for someone. And I was like, okay, this will be really cool. It'll be able to help me out a lot. And then I realized that it's not really what I wanted to do. And I felt really, I mean, it's one of those things that you think you're really excited about, and then you get there and it's not everything that you thought it was going to be.
Mhm.
So I was working with the people like, okay, we'll meet the deadlines. We'll get things that we have to get done. So I made sure that they got everything that they asked for. I gave them everything that they needed. And then once I was done, I was like, man, I didn't get the fulfillment out of that maybe I would have gotten elsewhere. So I think it was actually the very next project that I took up. I was like, wow, this is awesome. I got to work for a non-for-profit and help organizing a showcase match for esports. I'm like, oh wow, these are the esports that I watch all the time. I get to do this for universities. It was a university show match. So I'm working with this company to help promote these other schools in their esports teams, which was amazing to me. It might sound boring to some people, but all like the logistics of the tournament, like who needs to be where at this time, here are the ad reads for our casters, like organizing that was really fun. And
Yeah.
once I got done with it, I looked back and I was like, wow, that felt great to be able to be a part of that. So that I think that's kind of some of the experiences from it.
Well, one of the things that we're really excited about here is this show, Esports Connected. And what we wanted to start a series here, having some guest co-hosts. And I know that you have been doing a lot of freelance hosting. Can you tell me a little bit about it? And maybe we can talk live about what we could create with you being a guest host here, possibly.
Yeah, that'd be great. So one thing that I do big Call of Duty guy. It's how I got into esports. I've been commentating Call of Duty for I want to say about a year and a half now. I've been commentating matches, desk hosting, and analyst for a couple different amateur leagues. So that's a really cool thing, and that again all happened from just sending the DM. It's like, oh hey, you're looking for casters. Never done it, but I could do it. I promise, kind of thing. So I got there the very first cast, was super nervous, but co-caster said, "Man, you crushed it. Are you sure this is the first time you commentated?" Kind of thing. So that was really great to hear. Great group of people around me when it comes to like my freelance casting and hosting kind of side of things. So it's been a really cool experience that maybe I really never saw myself getting into. I thought it was always really cool to I never wanted to be the person that was like hosting the event. I was like, I want to be I didn't know. I didn't know that it was something that I enjoyed. And now every opportunity that I get, whether it be hosting a campus event, hosting a trivia night where I get to be the guy in front that's asking the questions. All of just starting commentating Call of Duty has led to kind of my love for public speaking. I never mind giving a speech. I never mind it, but I wasn't always excited to get up there. And now anytime I'm on a stage or have a mic in my hands, I love it. I love everything about it. And that's all thanks to commentating. And I've always wanted to host a podcast. Kind of like this kind of always one of the things I wanted to do. So that would be pretty cool.
Okay, so what do you think that we should do? I just love that we're creating this, and it'll be interesting if the network picks up this for the show. But what would be your vision? I know you've watched a couple of episodes. We have always talked about with the board having co-hosts. So what's your vision?
I think it could go a couple ways. Whether it
Okay.
be just like rotating hosts where we ask everyone about their journeys or things like that, or we could kind of sub in like little special segments in a podcast or something where we do like a rapid fire, like just ask people questions and have them say the first thing that comes to their head. I think those are always really fun as a viewer, always really fun to watch. And to be like a person who were to ask those questions, I feel like it'd be really fun too, just to hear some of the answers that people come up with, whether it be like a trivia or just about them, like just rapid fire, first thing that comes to your head. I think those are really fun.
And what else?
I think just being able to talk about, I think a big part of me and who I am is the journey. So I
Yes.
think a podcast about like people's just journeys, like where did you start or where was that big pivot that got you to be where you are? Because I think most people have kind of that pivot. Not everyone can say that I was going to do this and I'm that. And that journey in itself is a big story too. The fact that you kind of stayed and persevered through everything to not change, but then to talk about the journey for the people that maybe took that pivot and were able to really find what they're passionate about. I think journeys are big for me.
Definitely. And it has really been an honor to be on this journey with you. You know, thanks for taking the leap of faith and creating your membership here. And also I'll just remember that not only did you get your membership sponsored by your university, you enrolled your professor to come to our event and had the school pay for it. And you know, that is a huge accomplishment, and I'm really excited, you know, to hear that you know everything is working out so well for you. So I would love to create something and have you co-host a show. Um, let's do it.
Yeah, 100% I'm in.
Okay, right on. Well, thank you very much for being a guest. And maybe right following this, we'll have you co-hosting our first show. And it's been an honor to have you here.
Thanks, Megan, for having me. Thank you, Esports Trade Association, for the show, for the platform to be able to share my journey. Huge shout out to Manchester University for helping like lift me up to where I am. But that's really all I got for today. We're gonna go create this. All right, we're gonna go come out back with this really great show. So make sure that you stay tuned. Thank you all. Thanks again, Megan, for hosting this, and we'll see you next time.